always on your side. This is First Coast News at 6.
We begin with breaking news tonight. A 400-acre wildfire burning out of control near the Duval-Nassau County line. I-95 North near Pecan Park shut down in both directions. That wildfire doubling in size in less than 4 hours.
Now let's give you a closer look here from the ground. You can see some of the smoke coming from the woods. Also, there are scorched trees, scorched grass, all blackened by this fire.
And with the heavy, thick smoke in the air, visibility is becoming progressively worse, which is why 95 North near State Road 200 in Yulee and Pecan Park Road are shut down in both directions.
And take a look at this video. This is from one of our viewers. She was driving on I-95 near Pecan Park before it was shut down. You can see the smoke is thick. Really dangerous driving conditions.
And right now, dozens of firefighters are on the front lines and in the air working around the clock tonight trying to put out this massive fire. We're told bulldozer crews are making good progress building fire lines in an effort to contain the fire. But the wildfire shows no signs of stopping. Welcome to First Coast News at 6. I'm Anthony Austin.
And I'm Jeannie Blaylock. Here are the latest headlines at this hour about this Yellow Bluff fire. First, as we're saying, the wildfire is 400 acres. All lanes on I-95 at Pecan Park are shut down. That is both south and northbound lanes. Officials say the fire started yesterday near train tracks. It is 25% contained right now. The cause is still under investigation.
So you may be wondering, where exactly is this fire located? Here's a detailed map for you. The fire sits near the Duval and Nassau County line. Once again, you can also see on this map the stretch of roadway that is currently shut down.
And here's a live look at Pecan Park on I-95. As you would expect, it's shut down. There are no cars on this interstate. They really mean this. We have our First Coast News team covering every angle of this fire tonight. Let's begin with Steve Fendero, who is at the fire lines. Steve?
Yeah, we're on the east side of the fire. We're on the back side of the fire. We're just west of US 17 and off towards my right is where the fire has been flaming up the most. We're on the back side of it again. That tree line where the smoke is, the dark smoke there, you can actually see some of the flames. That is the fire progressing to the west with the breeze. And then that tree line, that's right where I-95 is. So that's where really all of the smoke is going. We here on the back side are kind of just left in all of the brush and the debris that's been smoldering. Actually, I got to say this, moments before our live shot, just because of how hot the temperatures are, I heard crackling behind me, and just how things are smoldering, a few flames started sparking up. So we're actually on a gentleman's property who let us come back here where he has been kind of building his own little fire lines back here, clearing out brush and debris, just because of how quickly things can spark up like that little flame I showed you earlier just before. So again, even though most things are charred back here and burnt to a crisp, there is still plenty dry fuel readily available to burn. And when we talk about flashy fuel, this is what we're talking about. Leftover twigs, leftover grass, leafy kind of material that is left on the ground. All that stuff with the weather we've been dealt with over the past couple days. I don't think it's rained since May 20th, and it's not going to rain likely until maybe not until next weekend. So again, a lot of dry conditions out here. It's not as smoky, where it is tremendously smoky as on I-95, where Crystal Bailey is. I know there's a dense dense smoke advisory in effect out there. Crystal, how you doing out there with all that smoke?
Well, it was a lot of smoke. I could barely breathe out there. We actually just came back from this region over there where you can see a lot of the emergency personnel is working over there. We were just there and they told us that, you couldn't even see past a foot in front of you. That's why they closed the roads here. Fire crews, they made a good move doing that because you cannot drive through this thick smog. Now, every few minutes you can hear a helicopter flying over us. That's because they're taking water from a nearby pond over I-95 to contain this fire. Now, multiple crews are out here, JFRD, Florida Forest Service, state troopers, and they're working very hard to get this fire out. They tell us that they've been working with neighboring fire crews such as JFRD, Nassau County Emergency Management. All those firefighters are working together as a team right now, and they're used to doing this. They've met before this. They tell us that this fire is continuing to grow past that 400-acre mark, and they say that this smoke could last for the next 7 to 10 days. Now, we're continuing with team coverage. Katie Jeffries is bringing us the detours that you can take on your ride home tonight. Back to you guys.
With the closure of I-95, this is going to be very difficult for people trying to make their way up towards Nassau County or people from Nassau trying to make their way towards Jacksonville. It's going to be slow. So here's where it's closed. It's closed from Pecan Park Road there, just north of the airport, all the way up to State Road 200. So that's a big stretch that is blocked. Your detour route, your best one, is to take US 17, and look how packed it already is. So if you are traveling on 95 northbound, you can be routed off at Pecan Park Road and use US 17 northbound to merge with State Road 200, then use State Road 200 westbound to get back onto I-95. If you're traveling on 95 southbound, just do the reverse. Take State Road 200 out towards US 17, US 17 southbound, and then you can get back on there at Pecan Park Road and travel on I-95 southbound. Now, the moral of the story here today, you need to have some patience and be ready to sit in some very big delays, because all of the traffic now from I-95, all of those commuters are going to be moved onto 17, which is not a big enough road. It's not an interstate to be able to handle all of that traffic. So things are going to be slow. Make sure you are following directions, though, from officials. They're out there doing their best trying to help you. But US 17 right now is your best alternate route, but it's going to be very crowded.
So piggybacking off of what Katie is saying, remember there's also Lem Turner and Highway 301, and that connects up with Highway 1, Lem Turner Highway 1, that connects with 301, and that can take you up to Highway 82 to get you back to the east. We'll try to keep talking about other variations of ways to go, especially as we get deeper in toward Memorial Weekend and all the traveling that's going on. Okay, here's the Doppler radar. Again, not showing you precipitation. A lot of noise here, but you see it. This is the smoke plume that's going from the east to the west. It's being blown by those winds. Those same winds have helped us with the heat, but it's what fanned the flames. Remember, yesterday at this time, it was a 40-acre fire, and now it's over 10 times that amount. Crystal just mentioned it's even larger than that. Now, just looking at the radar, this is not anything official from the Forestry Service, but there's not as much of a smoke plume showing up on the radar. Maybe, just maybe, that's a sign that we've reached the peak as far as the winds and the fire are concerned. But as mentioned, the smoke's going to be around and it's going to be settling down. Not for the next couple of hours. We continue 84 degrees, so the firefighters dealing with the heat, but at least not as hot as yesterday, and winds still gusting up to over 20, sometimes 25 miles per hour. That wind's going to diminish, but then the smoke's going to settle down, certainly for areas west of I-95, but even out toward Highway 17 as we head toward dawn.
Thank you, Tim. We are continuing to follow more breaking news. An arrest across state lines. A 19-year-old is in custody tonight in connection to the Terry Parker High School shooting.
That shooting happened last Friday night during a spring football game. One teenager was injured. On Your Side's Nick Perot joins us live now from JSO with details on this arrest today. Nick?
Well, Jeannie, yes, we're talking about 19-year-old Arthur Jones III, was actually spotted in a speeding car in Camden County yesterday evening. He is still detained and in Camden County this evening. Arthur Jones III was inside a speeding car late last night in Camden County. When deputies ran his name, they found the attempted murder warrant for his arrest. Around 1:30 this afternoon, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office took to Twitter, thanking those who came forward with information in identifying Jones. Following Friday's shooting, early reports from the Sheriff's Office said the shooting could have had connections to a gang. JSO confirming Jones is a documented gang member. He is being detained on the attempted murder warrant in Georgia. First Coast News has been told the victim, just 16, and a Rains 9th grader, is in good condition. We're told the bullet missed Shaman Mickens' heart by an inch. You may recall a shooting outside Rains High School following a football game last August. A new wave of safety drills came after that shooting. The Sheriff's Office estimates up to 1,500 people were at Friday's Terry Parker Ribault game. Duval County Public Schools declined to comment on security measures earlier this week, citing it could compromise safety plans. This shooting occurred in the parking lot outside the gates, but are told the district uses wands and searches at the gate. There were 6 school police officers at the game. And back out here live again, working to continue to follow this story. Keep it right here for the very latest. Outside the detention center, Nick Perot, First Coast News, on your side.
Nick, thank you so much. Tonight, the mother of a 4-month-old infant has created a GoFundMe account to help bury her child. The little girl's name was Brooklyn. She was found unresponsive in a car seat in the back of a daycare van yesterday afternoon.
And she had been left in that van for nearly 5 hours when she was discovered. So this is what we know tonight about Daryl Ewing, the co-owner of Ewing's Love and Hope Preschool. He was arrested and charged with child neglect. This morning, a judge set his bond at $75,000.
And tonight, this investigation continues. On Your Side's Ken Amaro is looking into the DCF inspections And he joins us now from the newsroom. Ken?
That's correct, Jenny. There are so many unanswered questions surrounding the death of 4-month-old Brooklyn. Why was the daycare transporting children when its April inspection shows it was not applicable? Should a person arrested on child abuse, even though not convicted, be given a license to operate a daycare? Now, Brooklyn's mom in a social media post wrote, "My family is in shambles," and with so many unanswered questions. Questions we asked DCF. A memorial is growing in front of Ewing's Love and Hope Preschool, a tribute to 4-month-old Brooklyn. The facility now closed. The state issued an emergency suspension order to cease operations. On Wednesday, the child was left in a hot daycare van for 4.5 hours in her car seat. The daycare began business in 2016. A July 2018 inspection reveals 3 Class 3 violations. On transportation, the daycare was found to be in compliance. But an April 2019 inspection states the transportation question was not applicable on driver's license, vehicle insurance, and inspection, not applicable on seatbelt restraints. Yet it was still in operation. DCF told On Your Side this facility did not notify DCF that they were transporting children. What changed between July 2018 and April 2019? Also, what about the daycare owner, Glorianne Ewing? December 2017, Ewing was arrested on child abuse charges. She entered pretrial intervention and was not convicted. But did DCF consider her arrest in giving her a license? Ewing did not respond to calls nor visit to her home. And now the mother of a 4-month-old child has turned to a GoFundMe account to raise money to bury her child. Now, DCF is not doing any interviews on this case, at least not yet. We wanted to know why was the daycare van operating and not following proper protocols. And also we wanted to know, did the recent inspection miss the van being used? We were told that child care licensing standards require any provider transporting children to notify DCF. DCF was not notified that the facility was doing so. Both Child Protective as well as child care licensing are now investigating this case, and we'll continue to follow it. Back to you.
Ken, thank you so much. A 16-year-old boy has died after a driver hit him while jogging along A1A. The crash happened yesterday morning in St. Johns County. Troopers say Xander Lauren was struck on Gnarled Oaks Drive. Lauren was airlifted to UF Health in Jacksonville, where he died. The driver stayed on the scene and cooperated with troopers. Lauren was a sophomore at Ponte Vedra High School.
Well, it appears one of Florida's most premier attractions will soon be under new management.
What you need to know this summer before your family makes plans to visit Marineland.
And we continue to follow breaking news tonight. The Yellow Bluff wildfire has shut down parts of 95. I-95 North near State Road 200 in Yulee and Pecan Park are shut down. That fire has already burned 400 acres. Stay with First Coast News both on air and online for the very latest.